We have all felt the brain fog and the drowsiness that comes with a lack of sleep. Did you know it's not always about how many hours of sleep you get, rather the quality of those hours? Today we explore the 5 patterns of sleep that researchers say affect brain activity in different ways. Good morning, I'm Alexis Del Cid. Welcome to All Things Brain Health. How many hours of sleep per night do you think is the right amount? Does it give you anxiety just talking about sleep? For me, I know it does. For years, we've heard that 8 hours is the key number to a good night's sleep. But now there's a new study that shows it's not about how long you sleep, rather your sleep profile that counts the most. So excited to do this show because sleep is a hot topic. So we'd love to welcome sleep medicine specialist, Dr. Saurav Luthra, to the show right now. And you just arrived. You were caught in a little bit of traffic. We're so glad you're here. Dr. Luthra is the director of the University of Kansas Health System Sleep Clinic. And we're also joined by RN Tana Whalen. Tana is a nurse who works closely with Dr. Luthra. So we're going to dig deep into sleep and what happens at the sleep clinic this morning. How did you sleep last night, Dr. Luthra?
I think I got a good sleep, thank you.
What's your version of good sleep?
So my version is if I am consistently being able to go to bed the same time and then I don't wake up too much at nighttime, and in the morning when I'm up I feel like I got a good sleep.
Do you count hours? Do you look at a watch?
So I do wear this device called Whoop, and I track my sleep on that. So I do measure how many hours I'm sleeping, but also the consistency and if I'm waking up too much at nighttime.
Tana, what about you?
How did I sleep last night? I slept pretty okay last night. I think I woke up one time, but I feel well rested this morning.
Do you have a certain amount of hours?
Not necessarily a certain amount of hours, but I mainly, I try to at least get 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
But I mainly just want to make sure that my sleep that I am getting is good quality sleep, and then when I'm going to bed, I'm going to bed. I'm not playing on my phone or watching TV or anything.
And we're going to talk more about what is good quality sleep throughout this program. Dr. Luthra, what happens in your brain when you're sleeping that is so important to your overall brain health and body health?
So sleep is a very active state. It's not a passive state that we would imagine that we are sleeping. Actually, at that time, the brain is consolidating your memories, it is regulating your emotions, and it's also clearing toxic substances like amyloid out of the brain. So it's really like brain's housekeeping at nighttime.
We've heard that from neurologists as well. It's like sleep is when it washes away all the gunk out of your brain. Tana, what are the typical day-to-day symptoms that someone would notice which prompts them to call the sleep clinic and make an appointment?
Well, day to day, if you're having like a lot of brain fog, if you're having just kind of slow processes to your thinking and movement, if you feel like your emotional regularity is not consistent, so you can be very irritable. Just one day of that doesn't necessarily prompt to call and make sure you get a sleep study, but if you're consistently feeling that way, definitely speak with your healthcare provider.
Most sleep studies look at the quality or the duration of one person's sleep. And I did a sleep study with you. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But the study we're talking about this morning explored data from hundreds of adults. And researchers in this study say the results showed that people tend to fall into 5 sleep profiles. The profiles are based on things like duration, quality, and disruptions throughout the night. Each profile was linked to differences in brain function, cognition, and overall health. So we're going to break down those 5 profiles. Number 1, poor sleep and mental health. Number 2, sleep resilience and mental health. Number 3, sleep aids and sociability. 4, sleep duration and cognition. And 5, sleep disturbances and cognition and mental health. Dr. Luthra, I'd love to know what each one means, because some people feel like they experience all of these in any given month.
Correct, yeah. And I think so you may also be fluid in all these profiles. But what they are trying to figure out here is that it's not just the hours of sleep that are that should be the only indicator. It is the quality, the fragmentation, the consistency that is important. So for example, the poor sleeper people, they have poor sleep, and it is directly linked to poor mental health. The resilient sleepers, they may have a bad night here and there, but then they are able to bounce back to their regular schedule, and they overall have good brain function. The third profile, where they had people who are using sleep aids, even though they are getting good sleep, but usage of the sleep aid is leading to problems with their sociability, problems with their alertness during the day. So it affects how social they are.
Is it also affecting your mood? When you say sociability, I picture myself snapping at people.
I think sometimes people who are chronically dependent on sleep aid may not be fully alert next morning because some of the effect of medications may linger on.
Like a hangover effect?
Correct, yes, especially with melatonin, etc.
Oh, okay. And then number 4, sleep duration and cognition.
So that profile basically showed that if your sleep duration is good and adequate, you have good cognitive function. And the last one, where we had people who had frequently bad nights, fragmentation, waking up multiple times, even though their total durations may be looking okay, but it was associated with poor cognition and poor mental health.
So can 2 people who each have, say, 6 hours of sleep fall into these different profiles?
Exactly, yes. That is the goal. So you can sleep 6 hours, but how solid that is, how fragmented that is, how consistent that is, matters.
Okay. So with the sleep resilience and the sleep disturbances, would sleep resilience mean that you still had those disturbances, but then the next day you don't? So you can bounce back from one night of bad sleep?
Exactly. So
Okay.
people are either very light sleepers or good sleepers. So in the resilient profile, people were, even if they had a bad night, it was easy for them to bounce back and fall into a good schedule and a solid sleep quickly.
So Tana, what do you tell people who call the clinic and they want to make an appointment, but they say they experience multiple profiles? Does that change how you make their appointment and what you schedule them for?
So not necessarily. Pretty much all of our patients are considered sleep patients. The biggest thing is that we make sure that we get all aspects of their sleep documented, so that we're able to discuss all of the aspects of their sleep with Dr. Luthra.
We have a new mom on staff, right? So I'm going to ask this question on behalf of all new moms, including Maggie. How many weeks or months of poor sleep does it cause? Does it take to cause long-term damage? I mean, can you go 5 months with poor sleep and still be okay in the long run?
Correct. Yeah, I think you should be fine. During those 5 months, your function, your blood pressure, your metabolism, your mood, your concentration would be affected because of that sleep loss. But I think if you are young and this happened younger in life, you should be able to bounce back easily.
This study also looked at brain scans, which are really interesting. Each sleep profile had a different pattern of brain activity. Can you explain, as we show these scans, what they showed to you?
Yeah, so I think these brain scans were basically their way of showing that different sleep profiles have different activities going on in the brain. So people who were resilient sleepers had better scans. People who had poor cognitive health, you could see in the scans that different areas were lighting up, and it changes with sleep profile. So it's just a way of objectively showing that your brain function gets affected based on how good or bad you are sleeping.
Do you ever have people stay more than one night in your sleep lab?
We have them sometimes come back because if we are doing some complex titrations, which means we are fine-tuning their devices, sometimes we have to check if they are going to be good with CPAP or BiPAP, or if they need something more complicated like ASV. So we then have to bring them back for a second night, but usually not consecutively.
Tana, do you ask patients who call in, or potential patients, what sleep aids they're taking?
So yes, it is important to know what medications they are taking, so I will take an account of what they are taking, or any devices that they use, such as CPAP or BiPAP, etc.
When you talk about sleep aids, is that prescription pills, over-the-counter pills, or melatonin?
All of them.
All
It's
of them.
important to know all of them. And really, their full comprehensive medication list does get looked at. So, you know, if anyone's on psych meds or cardiac meds, those are also important to consider.
And Dr. Luthra, do you have concerns with prescription sleeping pills long-term?
Yes, I do. I think sleep aids should be a second or third line. The first modality of treating someone's poor sleep should be looking into why they have poor sleep. And a lot of times, if they don't have disorders like sleep apnea, restless legs, periodic limb movement disorder, etc., then it is mostly behavioral. We are all predisposed to develop insomnia, then some event will happen that will make us have a poor sleep, but then we should be able to, with right techniques, bounce back to a normal sleep pattern instead of relying on sleep aids. So if they are used in acute phase for a couple of months, that's all right, but chronically, behavioral measures should always come first.
So a couple of years on a sleeping pill is considered
Longer than usual use, yes. If that's happening, that means there is some underlying issue that has not been fully explored, why they are poor, why they are sleeping poorly, or they haven't given their brain to bounce back to a normal sleep pattern, because now psychologically they feel like they only get good sleep with a medication.
There are people, and I know plenty of them because I worked the morning shift for 25 years, so we were all waking up at 1:45 in the morning for work. And I had a lot of coworkers that would take a Tylenol PM or a Benadryl at night, and they did that for decades. What do you think of that?
Not great for brain function. Benadryl or any antihistamine type of sleep aid, they are good for once in a while use. You're flying, you want to get better sleep during the flight, etc. But long-term use leads to a lot of side effects that happen from these medications, and also your brain function is not normal when you are under the effect of a sleep aid.
Tana, what category, when you ask people how much melatonin they're taking, what's the typical amount you hear by the time people are desperate enough to call the sleep clinic?
Most of the time, I don't have a lot of patients that come to us on melatonin.
They're way past trying melatonin.
Typically, they're taking other medications.
Okay.
Yeah, most of our patients have tried melatonin already, and I would also clarify that melatonin is not a great sleep aid. It's a sleep hormone that tells our body when night is and when day is. So it's a really good tool to regulate your sleep rhythm, but if you have chronic insomnia, that may not be the right thing to do.
Got it. So, Dr. Luthra and Tana, we have talked to some people on the street because we wanted to know what regular people who aren't experts in sleep had to say when we asked them about their sleep and their brain health. Here's what we found.
How much sleep do you average a night?
These days, I'm very excited if I get 5 hours of sleep. Very excited. Yes. Yeah. It's you know, there's a lot of great work and activities that happen, but actually it's adjusting to hormonal changes, I would say, or even sometimes season changes. They can affect how I sleep.
My sleep's pretty good. I get around 8 hours pretty much every night.
8 hours?
Yeah. I'm very consistent. If I don't get enough sleep, I'm horrendous to be around. I'm not switched on enough. So I've made it pretty much a good thing to get real consistent.
Do you think it affects your mental health?
I think it used to. Going to the gym a lot's helped though. So I just try to stay fit, and I think that helps. It might affect it a little bit. And sometimes I'm cranky when I start getting tired. I think it affects my eating habits a little bit more than it does my mental health.
Yes, I get plenty of sleep. I mean, we're recently retired and we got more time to sleep than we did before. Might even nap in the afternoon.
What's your deal with sleep? Do you get enough sleep?
Yes.
So have you always been able to get sleep?
Except when I go through times when I'm very anxious.
I've read and heard that older people have more difficulty sleeping, and I will often wake up very short periods of time at night, and I'll look over at the clock, and then I'm back to sleep pretty soon. So it's rare that I wake up and don't fall back to sleep pretty quickly.
I'd love to know, Dr. Luthra, what do you think about the woman? She was the, I think, third person that was interviewed that said she noticed more of a benefit from working out than good sleep.
Yeah, I think they are both connected. Working out, so think of it this thing. I say there are 3 pillars of good health: exercise, nutrition, and sleep. And you can only exercise better if your sleep is good, because sleep is directly related to how recovered you feel, how your body takes that exercise, how your heart rate responds to when you're working out. So it's like interconnected. And so you can't have a good balanced health on 2 pillars. You need all the 3 pillars.
Tana, what about the gentleman who talked about he noticed as he aged that he wakes up a lot more during the night?
age is a factor when it comes to your sleep. It doesn't necessarily mean that as you age, you're going to get worse sleep, but it doesn't surprise me.
So do you have a large percentage of seniors or people approaching their 60s that will call you and try to make an appointment?
I would say that many of our patients are, older. I don't know exactly how you would classify older, but I would say a lot of our patients are more aged. Yeah.
Seniors? Well, careful, I'm a patient. But I am turning 52, so unfortunately I think I fit that category. Dr. Luthra,
oh, you definitely don't.
Well, it varies from person to person. I have some friends that sleep like babies, and
Correct.
they just, it's never been an issue. Do you see more men or women with sleep problems?
I think we have a good mix of both, right, Hannah? I feel like there may be a difference in the type of sleep disorders we are seeing more in men. So sleep apnea may be more prevalent in men compared to maybe restless legs because of the iron metabolism and iron deficiency more in females. We see a good mix. And when we think about sleep, the sleep disruption, apneas are more in older population, but other disorders like insomnia related to stress, hypersomnia, excessive sleepiness could also be more in the younger group of patients that we have.
A couple years ago, I did a sleep study with you, Dr. Luthra, and we had one of our photojournalists, Cliff Irwin, come in and record it. I came to you because I was exhausted all the time. I could sleep on command. You could tell me, Alexis, sleep, and I could put my head down on this table and fall asleep. It was a fascinating experience. You get all these probes hooked up to you, and it's like a nice hotel room that you go into for the night. What we discovered at the end was that you suggested that I maybe take my medications at a different time of day. I was taking what I didn't know were nighttime medications in the morning.
Correct.
And I was also dealing with, my father was dying. So I was stressed and I was fatigued and I just, my sleeping was all whack. Nothing was working. How common is it for situational things like grief or someone simply just taking their medications at the wrong time for that to be resolved from a visit to you?
These disorders are extremely common. Sleep is number one thing that gets affected if you get into a situational stress like that. But they can be resolved easily because sometimes you just need to take like a bird's eye view on what exactly is going on throughout your day, where your sleep rhythm is, and how are you timing your meds. And sometimes you may be doing very simple things that you can fix to make it better, like just being consistent, morning sun, afternoon caffeine, things like that people don't think about too much. They may be drinking soda all day and they don't realize it has caffeine, and that might be giving them insomnia.
Do you often find out that it could be something like depression or grief that is causing the sleeplessness?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the biggest types of insomnia is what we call psychophysiologic. So your mind has a big impact on how you sleep.
I'm wondering if a lot of the parents that just saw their kids off to college are having trouble sleeping, because that's a form of grieving when your child goes away.
Correct, yeah. And some of the rhythm around when you fall asleep and wake up also gets changed when you end up in college. You may be staying up late and then not getting enough morning sun. And all of that will impact kids differently when they end up in college.
Can we talk a little bit about what happens during a sleep study? Now, Tana, you came from labor and delivery. You're relatively new to being a sleep nurse. Are you there for the sleep studies overnight?
I am not, no. So I'm strictly in the clinic.
Running the clinic. Dr. Luthra, do you stay overnight and watch the scans and things? What's happening during that study on your end?
So during my training, I have done that. I have stayed overnight with some of the more complex titrations. But nowadays, what we do is everything is recorded. So you get a really good detailed snapshot of your sleep, your brain function, your limb activity, breathing, oxygen, heart rate, etc. And you also have a video recording of any movements that may happen when you are sleeping. So when I get to see the report, I see all that data and I make an impression based on that.
When someone comes in for a sleep study, it's really interesting. You show up and you've got your, you told me show up in your pajamas.
Yeah.
So I did, with your toiletries and your pajamas. And it's like checking into a hotel.
Yes.
Someone lets you in with your little case.
Yes.
How many people were there watching me sleep when I underwent that study?
We have 2 to 3 techs overnight, and they are each sitting in front of a screen, and your sleep recordings are going on live in front of their screens. So they help adjust things. Sometimes patients may wake up, they may need something. Sometimes we are doing machines. So we are adding a CPAP machine, and they are changing pressures throughout the night to find the best pressures. So it's a very active study on their end. On your end, you just try to sleep as better as you can.
Which actually is, weirdly, it works with all
Yeah.
those cords because it's set up like this nice hotel room. What about someone who has sleep apnea, never knew it till their spouse told them? That often happens. That's very common, according to neurologist Dr. Ryan Townley.
I think, so most people that have sleep apnea have no idea they have it. So it's usually a bed partner or someone else that notices their snoring increase, but also they might even stop breathing in the middle of the night. The only real way to know is with like an oxygen type of test. So either an oxygen meter throughout the nighttime or an official sleep study. And what we're finding is that it's an increasing risk with obesity, but also with aging. So the rates of sleep apnea are significantly increasing in America. And we think that that has a really big impact on the quality of sleep you have and the risk factor for Alzheimer's disease and dementia.
Dr. Luthra, that's wonderful for someone who has a partner that notices. There are a lot of people that don't have a partner that they sleep with. How do they know that they might have sleep apnea?
I think if they are not noticing themselves waking up with snoring, then there are other signs too. For example, if they wake up more than once, if they're waking up consistently 2-3 times at nighttime, and they feel like in the morning their mouth is dry, their throat is slightly sore from all the snoring they did, they are frequently sipping water every time they wake up, and when they wake up they feel like a sort of a brain fog or not fully clear. And like you said, some people can fall asleep at the drop of a hat. So if you're noticing those symptoms, definitely talk to your doctor.
We already have some great questions and some comments coming in. So if you have something that you would like to share or like us to read out loud on the program, or a question you'd like us to ask Tana or Dr. Luthra, send it to us right now on YouTube or Facebook. You can find the links right here on your screen. There is growing research that poor sleep, as you touched on, can increase your risk of Alzheimer's disease. Here is Dr. Jeffrey Burns, who is the co-director of the Alzheimer's Disease Research Clinic here at the health system.
We've learned really in the last decade that there's some clearance of something called amyloid that builds up in Alzheimer's disease, and so we see some clearance of amyloid in the brain during sleep, and so there is a connection. We got a lot more work to do to understand it, but promoting good sleep, good high quality sleep, and deep sleep is really important for individuals, and then protecting against things like sleep apnea, which can disturb sleep, which does disturb sleep in pretty dramatic ways. We need to protect against that because it has an impact, a negative impact on the brain.
So when doctors say clearance, they're talking about this kind of washing and rinsing of the brain that happens from things that build up during the day. Here again is Dr. Ryan Townley.
We can literally see clearance of molecules that build up in between the cells and things during sleep. So if you sleep deprive someone, and especially if you disrupt their deep sleep, which sleep apnea does too, it disrupts deep sleep specifically, you'll see more buildup of amyloid plaques and things even after one night. We know that inflammation is part of the driver of the acceleration into dementia with Alzheimer's disease, and so how do we limit the inflammation of the system? We have to get those variables like sleep right.
Tana, I want to ask you this. You said at the beginning of the show you try to make sure you have all the elements in place so you can have a good night's sleep, and one was not looking at your screen. That's what you would call good sleep hygiene?
Yeah, so once you go to bed, that your bed is where you sleep. So that should be what you do when you go to sleep or when you go to bed. So I know a lot of people like to scroll on their phones whenever they lay their head down, or they like to turn on the TV and watch TV, but that can really lead to inconsistent sleep times and just overall provide distraction and not allow you to get that good, adequate sleep.
That good quality sleep. We have some great questions coming in, and Dr. Luthra, I want to get to this one from Jean. Jean asks, are short naps for 20 minutes the best way to take a nap?
Yeah, I think that's not a bad way to say that. I think short naps, when they are not too long, can give you some refreshment, but also if you are requiring frequent naps, then you may not be getting adequate sleep at nighttime.
Lin Yang Liang wants to know, he writes, we all know that getting 8 hours of sleep at night is ideal for your brain and overall health. But as I get older, if I can't sleep a full 8 hours at night, is it okay to make up for the missing hours with a nap the next day?
I would say keeping it consolidated in one chunk has been shown to be better. So even if you are sleeping late and you need 8 hours, you wake up a little late. But trying to solidify and keeping it all together is better than taking it in chunks.
Does it help at all? This is a me question. Some nights I'll get 6 hours of sleep, but on the weekends I lock in and I say, nobody disturb me, don't touch me, and I can sleep for 9 or 10. Is that righting the wrongs that I've done throughout the week?
It will make you feel better. You will be less tired, but those 5 days of brain function are lost. So you can't always catch up on the brain function that was supposed to happen, but you will feel more rested if you catch up, yes.
Joellen has a great question. First of all, Tana, do you get people calling you because they have wild dreams or nightmares and night terrors and wanting to make an appointment?
Yes, so we definitely have people that make appointments for those situations for sure.
Because Joellen wants to know, what about dreams and nightmares? Where do they fit into the subject of good sleep? And what can dreams and nightmares tell you? What do they tell you, Dr. Luthra?
So dreams could be good or bad. Good dreams are fine. Bad dreams and nightmares a lot of times have to do with your subconscious. And so if you have some trauma, some PTSD, some anxiety, then they tend to happen more. And one of the first line treatments for that is to explore it with therapy.
Tana, Jean Reardon wants to know, do you have any tips for adjusting to daylight saving time when changes are coming up, like one coming up very soon?
Yeah, so really any life changes, knowing that and preparing and prioritizing your sleep is really important. We all get affected by daylight savings, but setting that bedtime, making sure, you don't have lights or distractions at the time to go to bed can be really helpful. Other than that, I might defer to Dr. Luthra for other.
Yeah, no, I think just tips. Preparing for that, getting that extra hour of sleep, realizing you would be waking up early, and then giving your body time to adjust to that with morning sun and caffeine adjustments is all you need to do.
We have one more question from Jeremy Yenser. And I'm not sure which of you wants to take this one, but this is a great question. Do sleep positions matter? And if they do, can you control that, or can you do anything about your sleep position?
I'll take that. Sleep positions are extremely important. I was just listening to this podcast this guy gave where he did a full study on different sleep positions. Sleep positions, for example, if you sleep on the back, most people will have more sleep apnea, more snoring on that. So that way, sleeping on the back is not great for them. And then if you sleep on the side, it then matters how do you sleep, because the best position is thought to be where you're on your side with your knees in a baby position, and you're not putting extra strain on your hips or shoulders.
Is that like when you put a pillow between your knees?
Correct.
Then?
You put a pillow between your knees and you are on your side. The reason for that is you want your body in a relaxed posture, so you don't wake up with musculoskeletal discomfort, and that's disrupting your sleep. And also you don't allow your airway to close at nighttime as much.
What about, what were you
I
saying?
had a question for you. I know there's a lot of beds these days that the head goes up a bit. If people prefer to sleep on their back, is raising the head of the bed more or less helpful?
It is helpful, especially for people who have some degree of sleep apnea. When you raise the head of the bed, your airway closure does get better, yes.
What about the elusive stomach sleeper? My husband used to sleep on his stomach until his neck was hurting him one night, and then he realized that was bad, but that mystified me. Anyone who can sleep on their stomach. What's that all about?
I mean, a lot of people sleep on the stomach. It's just we all have very individual preferences on sleep positions.
Your neck is like mush to the side. I don't know how anyone gets any air in there. So is that a popular position?
It's not the most popular, but we definitely have 10-20% of people who are stomach sleepers, and we see that in the sleep lab, and they sleep okay. It's better not to do that and be on the side than the stomach. But yeah, it will cause musculoskeletal issues like you were describing in the neck.
As we wrap up this discussion, I'd love today's takeaways. And Tana, I want to start with you. What do you wish our viewers knew about sleep?
I think taking sleep seriously is very important. I know I didn't take it quite as seriously before I started working with Dr. Luthra, but it is a very important part, not only to our day-to-day lives, but our overall long-term health.
Dr. Luthra.
You know, I just want to say, like I said, it's one of the 3 pillars of good health: nutrition, exercise, and sleep. And the better you sleep, the better your mood is, the sharper you think, and the healthier you age.
Dr. Luthra, Tana, thank you for taking time out of your day to visit us and enlighten our audience and us on this. And thank you to our viewers for joining the conversation. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning.
A shift to the Northland. I'm Jessica Lovell on the next Open Mics with Dr. Stites. Thousands of growing families are calling the Northland home. See how new cancer care centers are bringing life-saving treatments closer to home. Wednesday at 8.